Hi, welcome to our community trophy match. I think this is the semi-final. Yeah, it is the semi-final. Against Team RB. I just checked our calendar. Because we definitely played them in the league. It was a close one. I think they're online for that. And they finished a bit odd, chasing a lead. Desperate times call for desperate measures sometimes, I guess. We had, we ended up defending it. Don't know what we... Okay, it appears we started attacking, and that when we went defensive, didn't really work out very well for us actually. It really allowed them to come back into the match, it seems. We did win the 5-4, but we scored all 5 goals in the first half, and they had scored 2, was it, in the second? Something like that when we were defensive. So I think we want to start attacking, and that seemed to work better against them. And yeah, we'll just go for that full strength squad. As per normal, why wouldn't we? It's a cup match, it's a semi-final, and I'm just on the trigger to quickly change out of this fast tempo as soon as it's not apparent that it's in our best interest to be. Van Reenen, our former player. And so he plays a 4 across the back and the 2 holding midfielders, as a matter of course, it seems. So instantly changing out of that fast tempo now that we grab that goal. It's also a cup match. Just got to bear that one in mind. Instantly change back because we are creating more than twice as much as them, so we're a bit unlucky to not be winning. And quite unlucky to be losing. Our goalkeeper's not been in the best form lately. Hopefully we can still... Wow. And this is, fortunately saying Van Reenen out, our former player, great. But I think, all in all, it's bad. Hopefully we can come back from this. We'll certainly create enough, I feel. We're on track to create enough. He doesn't seem to be changing much here to stop our chance flow. Still playing 3 strikers, 3 centre forwards, even though he's winning 3-1 and lucky to be winning. So I think, we'll keep our chance flow. I think there's every possibility that we'll score 2 goals still here, for sure. It's just whether they score any more or not, but I think our chance flow is too good. So I think, just like that last match, I think there's a clear window of opportunity after this 3rd goal to shut up shop from our opponent's perspective, and frustrate us, ride the result out, force us to change something, put all of the impetus on us to have to do something. But instead it's like, well, we're creating more than twice as much as you and we need to score, so what are we going to do? Of course we're going to leave it. So there's no decisions to be made on our part, and it sort of just allows makes our life easy, I guess. And it's when our life gets difficult that I think is the best chance of beating us, making it not easy. But right now, easy. I mean, not necessarily saying we're going to win easy, but the choices are easy. There's no choices to be made here. We're losing, we need a goal, and we're having considerably more than twice. We're having 2.5 times the amount of shots they are, more than 2.5 times the amount of shots they are. There's no decision to be made. Just leave it. Just leave it. Let's just score another goal, because we're going to. For sure, we're going to score another goal this match. The only question that's left here is how many more goals we're going to score, and if they're going to score. And we're going to continue to be quite unlucky. And unfortunately, they did score. We are continuing to be quite unlucky here. But again, still 3 centre forwards and an attacking midfielder. Whilst they're being outplayed, there's no decision. We don't have to make any decision here. We just, all right, well, so what? We're losing by 2 goals now instead of 1. So, well, we're probably going to have another 25 shots this match as things stand. So why wouldn't we just want to leave it and have another 25 shots? Because if we have another 25 shots, we're probably going to score some goals. Let's see what happens. I think if he doesn't change it after half time, I don't think he's going to change it. I think this is just sort of the tactic that he plays, and I think we can count on the fact that he's not going to change it. And then I think we're going to count on the fact that we're going to stay how we are. Which I think means we want to sub Lee off and get on an optimal right winger instead of somebody who's flexible and adaptable and play right back or right wing, because it's pretty clear at this point we're not really going to want to pull him back into right back, I don't think. So I think we just want to play let's not do it right now, let's just do it straight after half time as soon as we confirm that he's not going more defensive. Which he didn't, so straight away let's do it now. We're still creating chances. 18. I think we had 18 about here. So it means we've created 7 in like the last 20 minutes. Something like that. So we're creating 1 chance every 3 minutes, and there's about 30 minutes left. I think we've got about another 10 or more shots maybe. As things stand, unless we change something. But realistically, I think we've got about another 9 shots, maybe. Well, maybe fair enough, but I think it's not. There's no defensive now. Still 3 strikers. And this is what we did last time against him, and it really blew up. We had a massive lead, and we went defensive, and he really came back into the match. So that we had a massive mistake last time. But honestly, I don't think this is a massive mistake by him. I think it's a correct decision, but he's gone out of defensive pretty quickly. But I think the correct decision was to go defensive, but not with 3 strikers. It's all in the balance. I do feel like we need Um, and he already had that yellow, so for ages. So he probably should have been sent off ages ago. Subbed off ages ago to de-risk that one. Because now, if we score a goal, take it to extra time, all of a sudden we'd have to be the favourite, more than the favourites. Would have to be the favourites. So now it's just a race against time. Can we score? And I think. We can, and I think we just keep no, okay, good. I think we keep doing what we're doing here, pressing, aggressive, fast, just take the match to them. But he's flanked Van Reenen, because Van Reenen can play either flank. I think Fowler can play either flank as well. So he could, when he was... well, let's talk about this after. Let's focus on getting the result. But I think some mistakes have been made here. This match should have been really easily won on him, I think. But it might still be won, obviously. So let's focus on hopefully winning, and then we can focus on how we could have been forced into losing this match, basically. That's a bit harsh to score in the very last minute like that. A bit harsh, but I think, honestly, I think he was going to struggle to get through the extra time period anyway. But you never know. That's the thing. You never know what's going to happen. So I think, yeah, that is true. But the difference is that this time, last match, we made a huge mistake and let them get back into the match. And this time, I think it was him that's made the mistake and let us get back into the match. So we've exchanged our mistakes. Who's making the mistakes? maybe he won't be after he watches it. Hopefully, I've not been too unfair in anything I've said so far. It won't be any unfair in anything else I've said going forwards. But I think it was clear that we were outplaying. We were having the run of the match early, and those 3 goals, and he's right, the red card did do him. So let's make sure we get to that. Those 3 goals, he was really, obviously 3 goals in 3 minutes, regardless of anything, obviously you're really lucky, but you're even luckier when the other team is having more possession and more shots than you, and you've scored 3 goals against the run of play. And I think absolutely that at some point after those 3 goals and before we scored this goal, basically, that he definitely should have. At least 2 of those 3 strikers, and I think even couldn't play on the wing. And I think even Van Reenen, from memory, is his attributes as a winger are pretty similar to a striker anyway. I think Fowler can play on the wing, but he's better as a striker. I can't quite remember who the other striker was, and I don't know all of their attributes off behalf of all of his players, sorry. But I definitely think it was totally a viable option for him to rather than playing 3 strikers, to play 3 forwards like in this formation. And I think that was just totally what he should have done. 4 across the back, his 2 holding midfielders, central midfielder, 3 forwards like this, and played defensive, because he was being outplayed, and he had a 2-goal lead, and that is something that he could have potentially defended that lead for the match, for sure. I think it was totally possible, and if we weren't creating enough chances. We're creating lots of chances, but if he did something for us to slow our chance flow, which I think for sure that would have slowed our chance flow, and we might have been still controlling the play, but as each minute passes and minute passes and minute passes, and we might have a shot, we might not, whatever, but as more and more and more minutes pass, if we're not having lots of shots, even if he's having none, we approach this position where we're saying, well, we're outplaying him, but we're losing by 2 goals, and right now we're only on track to maybe have another 10 shots for the rest of the match. And that's not necessarily enough to guarantee 2 goals here. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. So do we stick with it, or do we change it? And if we change it, it might be worse, or it might be better. But he's forcing us to do something. And if we change something and it works out for the better for us, then he has the option to change something. But we were never forced into that decision because we were having a lot more shots than him, and we're losing by 2 goals. It's similar to that Athens-Ajax match in that regard. That, well, there's no decision for us here. We need to score goals, and we're having lots more shots than them. So of course we're just going to leave it. There's no decision. We're not being forced to any decision, basically. And then he's obviously had an injury as well, which is like, I don't know exactly who, what position, or holding midfielder. But there's an injury here as well, which obviously was another opportunity to get a optimal defensive player in. Potentially, we may not have ever scored this goal, obviously, if we change things up. So then there's the issue of the yellow card that ultimately led to a red card in the 82nd minute, and the fact that he still had 2 substitutes left in the 82nd minute, and he was still, I think, definitely at this point, because he's, again, I think, like everything we're talking about what he could have done here in regards to working out that he's being outplayed and lucky to be winning, switched it up. He had another opportunity here, and that was similar to the Athens-Ajax match yet again, that they had 2 opportunities. But the difference in this match is that these opportunities were with a 2-goal lead, not a 1-goal lead, which is what it was in the Athens match. So 2-goal lead is way more viable to protect, especially from the 35th minute. It's completely possible for him to have, defended a 2-goal lead from that point in time. Not necessarily saying he definitely would have done it, but the point is that we were having lots and lots of shots, so leaving it was just like, well, we're going to have lots more shots, we're probably going to score 2 goals. He may or may not score another goal, and we did, and he didn't, and actually we scored 3 goals and whatever. So, but the thing is, like, it didn't put us under any pressure, because what we already had out there, what was already happening, was the correct thing for us to continue with. So we didn't put us under any pressure, didn't make us make decisions, didn't make us make mistakes, didn't make us make it easier for him to win. That's what he didn't do, and it's quite hard because it's like everybody was focusing on their own team, obviously. We do it as well, but you also got to think about your opponent here, and how. I think you got to think about your opponent more when you're the underdog, really. You want to make them slip up and get a result, and I think that might be a little bit to it. Anyway, red card, 82nd minute, had a yellow card since the 33rd minute, had 2 subs left, and was winning since the 35th minute all the way through until the red card happened, was still winning. Really, there's no excuse for not having subbed off that player, especially when you're playing aggressive tackling all that time. That's just a mistake. Sorry, that was a boo-boo, and it probably cost you the match as well, that one. Irrespective of anything else, he could have defended, could have held it out, could have, all might have helped, but at the end of the day, was still in position to win the match anyway at this point, and it was just a mistake to have not stopped that player off. It wasn't worth running that risk, running a risk all of this time. Yeah, maybe it probably didn't make sense to sub him off in the 33rd minute as soon as he got it, but it definitely made sense to sub him off at some point. Who knows when? I don't know all of these players. I'm not familiar. I don't know his team inside out. But for absolute certainty, it would have made sense to have subbed this player off at some point before the 82nd minute. I'm sure of that. So, and failure to do so, I think has cost him this match. That might be the case that the player didn't get sent off. We might have scored anyway. Who knows? It might have gone to extra time. Anything might have happened. But really, it was just a mistake, and it definitely is a mistake. It's a match-losing mistake, basically. This other stuff about switching it up and making our life more difficult, I think it was the correct thing to do. That, however, I don't think it's like a huge mistake. I think that's just maybe more a matter of opinion, and you could definitely have a debate with that, and you could talk to this user and understand why they were thinking, and there's a conversation to be had. It's just my opinion that it's a mistake. Maybe it wasn't. This was a mistake, though. I don't think there's any debate to be had. This player never should have been getting a second yellow and sent off, basically. It's just a mistake. So, and unfortunately one that's cost him the match. So I can imagine, like, it makes you even angrier when you know that you could have won, and the reason why you didn't was because that you made a mistake. Like, I know they're the ones that we get really, I get so angry at myself when that happens. And, you know, more often than not, it is the case, unfortunately, when you lose, that you have probably made a mistake. That's the reality. It might not be as big as this one, but typically speaking, you're always going to have made a mistake, and sometimes it's going to cost you the match, unfortunately. Huge amount of similarity between this and the last match, though, in that, I think in the last match, the Athens match, we just knew we were going to win the match, for sure. Whereas this one, it definitely wasn't like we were definitely going to win. It wasn't like that. But it was the same in regards to, we didn't really have any decisions to make. We just had to stay the course. It was the correct decision. We were creating a lot. You know, we're creating more than 3 times as much as they were. It was just that there was no decision. So it was the same in that regards. So we're through to the final. Unlucky for them. Honestly, I have good matches against this team. So I wouldn't, I don't know how to put it. I'm not going to play favourites or who I would rather lose to or anything, but I think I would have been comfortable losing this match as such, as comfortable as you'll ever be. But yeah, luckily I guess we won. And we're through to the final. So cheers, thanks for watching, and catch you for the next match.